Welcome to yet another Zoom call organized by Jungle Bells. Jungle Bells is an exclusive women's wildlife group. We are into wildlife related activities, conservation, and wildlife tours. Before we begin, I would like to request all of you to turn your cameras off and switch off your microphones. If you have any questions for the guest, please type them in the chat box and we will address them after their talk. Also, if you want to receive further communication from us about our events, tours, please type in your emails and email address and phone number in the chat box. Good evening, everyone. Before we begin, I want to ask you something. Have you ever wondered how many of us actually think about the ocean while sitting miles away from it? How many of us or how forests and oceans are silently working together to keep us alive? If these ecosystems disappear, it's not just wildlife that suffers, it's all of us. And that's exactly why today's session is so important. We are about to hear from two incredible experts who are working on the frontliners of conservations. So, from guardians of biodiversity, stories from forest to oceans. First, we have Dr. Amit Mirgal, is an urban ecologist and biodiversity expert with over 16 plus years of experience in environmental consulting and sustainability. He currently serves as Senior Manager, Ecology, Biodiversity and Spatial Projects at Building Environmental India Private Limited. His expertise includes ecological planning, environmental impact assessment, green belt development, and carbon sequestration. He is also an IUCN Red List assessor and actively works on integrating conservation with real world development projects. And joining him, Dr. Prachi Hatkar is a marine conservationist working to protect India's coastal and marine biodiversity. She is currently or she is currently to protect India's coastal and marine biodiversity. She is currently a senior project officer at DES Pune University and has contributed to the National Dugong Recovery Program with the Wildlife Institute of India. Her work focuses on seagrass ecosystems, dugongs, and marine species conservation, with a strong emphasis on community-led approaches. She is also part of global initiatives like the IMO Glow Noise Research Committee and actively promotes marine conservation through research and public outreach. Together, they bring a powerful and rare perspective connecting science, policy, and real world action. So, get ready for an insightful and eye opening session. Let's welcome our speakers, Dr. Amit Mirgal and Dr. Prachi Hatkar. Without wasting any further time, I will hand it over to Hemangi ma'am for further questions.
Hello, Prachi and Amit sir. It's been a wonderful experience, to get you on board also, because for us, it's also a challenging thing in a lot of ways, because we basically are a wildlife venture, but we are more into uh, getting, people like you on our board to spread awareness. So the objective of this webinar, though the Zoom is a little bit outdated now and no one does it, and we keep on getting this feedback, but for us, it is important because we get to upload this on the YouTube and circulate it in our community, because that is very important. And that's how people can also watch it at their leisure time. So the session is recorded. It's on the Facebook Live. We have followers on Facebook also. So those who can join anywhere or later can see at their own perspective. So it's such amazing thing to get both of you on board. Vast, diverse this thing, but some these topics are not even touched by us till now, frankly. And to be very, sincere, I myself don't know a lot about it. So I'm going to throw questions which are going to be, really maybe very very primary questions for me to also understand, and for a layman, like me, to understand what it is what you're into. So let's start with Amit sir. So what is urban ecology and biodiversity conservation, and how they are related, and can you give us a simple, perspective on that?
Yeah. So, good evening, first of all, and thank you so much, Jungle Bells, for providing this opportunity. Uh, yeah, with my deep interest into the botany, when I started my education into the botany, I get uh, multiple opportunities to work on the n number of species, particularly herbaceous and shrub species. At that time, I was not working with tree species, although I started work on the some rare or especially we can say the endemism, like endemic
Yeah.
species, particularly for the Western Ghat, or you can say the Konkan region of Maharashtra. So like this, I started with this work, and when I came to work on the reason behind the or reason or constraints behind the rarity or the endemism, there was the ecology. So at that time, I came across with the ecology term, and I started working on this ecology and other perspectives of the biodiversity. So yeah, with this understanding, I came to this ecology and biodiversity. So ecology is very important term, and the study
Yes.
which we can utilize for this
Of
reducing
course.
this endemism and rarity of the species, particularly.
Correct, correct. So, just to give you a small this thing, I had gone to Corbett Tiger Reserve right now, and I had one guide with me. So he was a botany student, and very, very, he was not a tiger tracker, but he was more interested into plants and all. So in the morning, he was giving me, 6 o'clock names, which were really big botanical names of trees and this thing.
Yes,
So for me,
yes,
I was like, don't tell me this because I'm a labor. But then I started understanding how much he has interest and wants to even, share that
correct.
information with everyone. So then I
Yes,
started actually appreciating of what he's doing, because those names, it was difficulty, even remembering, or the medicinal
remembering. Yeah.
values. And yeah, so it is a great thing. And those who like that and you're really passionate. So I was very
I would
happy.
like, sorry, I am
No
interrupting.
problem.
Uh, but I can say one thing that the names are, although they are the very tough
Yeah.
to remembering, but these are the specific. They have the specific meaning. Like
Yes, yes.
if the species is endemic to this particular species, particular area,
Correct,
so it will be named after this. Or somebody has discovered the species, so it will be named on this the name of this particular. So
correct,
they are
correct.
not exactly tough
Yeah.
to remember.
Correct, correct. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so Prachi, what inspired? Well, marine conservation, we all understand those two words, but primarily, what is it, and how did you get, attracted to this kind of thing, and you wanted to pursue a career in that?
Yeah, so my fascination with the ocean began from the childhood. So my native place, I'm born and brought up in Mumbai, but my native place is from Kelway Road. So you must have heard about Kelway Beach. So
Yes.
childhood, I used to like pick up the shells just for as a hobby. I didn't know that what attracted me towards it. So it was like a summer vacation. Every summer vacation, I used to visit my native place every time. So the beaches was the main attraction that we used to go. We all the cousins used to hang out, and
Yeah.
I was watching more. I was more obsessed with the cartoons, the mermaid. So actually, when I
Yeah.
was growing up, I thought I would be a mermaid sooner. So I was so fascinated by the
Okay.
cartoons. So I thought that as I grew older, the curiosity actually got evolved into a deeper scientific interest.
Right.
So I
Right.
started studying zoology and completed my master's in oceanography, and then took up a PhD to realize that how this ecosystem, the whole marine ecosystem, is actually fragile. And India,
Right.
where the millions of peoples actually their livelihood also depends on the coast. So what
Right.
truly shaped my path was the field exposure, being in
Right.
the intertidal zones, observing the biodiversity firsthand, understanding how the human and nature connection grows. And
Right.
when the conservation that's when the conservation being an idea stopped as a being an idea but became as a responsibility.
Correct. 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 So someone jokingly asked me in the morning when I had put up this webinar on my status and all, can you ask a question? I thought they were very serious. So they said, does Prachi know swimming? I said, I will ask her for sure in the webinar, just on the lighter note. But people, that's how, that's why this webinar is so important, because people do not know what is marine conservation, what is ecology, how many people are actually working towards preserving it, and they had their efforts. So we
So,
should be
yes.
appreciating all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll go back to Amit sir, and for a common audience, okay, like I keep on saying, how would you explain ecological planning, and why would you think it is very important today?
Yeah. So for this, I can give you a very simple example. Nowadays, everyone is facing the problem related to the tree cutting. So tree cutting is major
Yes.
issue into the urban development. So
Yes.
actually, for the tree cutting perspective, there is an act in state of the Maharashtra. The act is
Yeah.
named as the Maharashtra Urban Tree Protection and Preservation Act 1975. So as per
Okay.
this act, there is a provision if you want to, if you have some proposed developments for building
Right.
construction, for infrastructure development, for dams, for roads, highways, tunnel, everything. So you need to have the proper system. There is system as per this act. So where you can
Hmm.
have the geotagging of the trees, then you have to submit the application for the particular tree authority. Then
Hmm.
tree authority will be the judging the trees, or they will be verify the trees and their age, and as per their perception, they will give the permissions. And when they
Okay.
give the permissions, there is a provision for this compulsory plantation as per the age of the tree particular.
Right.
So
Right.
that process should be followed by each and every proponent. Means like who is a developer, they should know this process, and they should apply with this process to the
Right.
perspective of Miss tree authority. Tree
Yeah.
authority will be like authority will be the like will be for the municipal corporations, municipal commissioners, municipal councils. Then
Hmm.
SIDCO authority, they have their own authority. MIDC is
Hmm.
there, they have tree authority. So there is a provision. So what happened now, because of the lack of the awareness of this act,
Right.
that's problems that's happening nowadays. So this is the right season, and this is the perfect example for this importance of ecological planning. So if you have
Yes.
the planned development, it will be sustainable, more sustainable rather than this destruction.
Correct. Correct. That's nice. So, yes. So, Prachi, can you please briefly explain your work on the dugong and the seagrass conservation? First, you have to tell us what are both these things, and
Yes,
then what is the work that you are doing in this?
sure. May I share my screen?
Yeah, yeah, I've already enabled the yeah,
Okay, okay. Just give me a.
yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, so this has been this has how my journey had started actually. So,
Okay.
coming to, if you can see at the screen, this is
Yes.
all murky, keechad type mudflat you can see, and you can see just little grass, little leaves on
Yeah,
the sea.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so the orange thing, this is this is a seagrass meadows basically. So it has
Okay.
more of mud. So this particularly seagrasses are underwater plants. So if you can see this area, this was actually flooded during the high tide, and during
Okay.
the low tide it has completely the water has completely receded, so the whole mud
Hmm.
flat has been exposed to the sunlight. So these
Hmm.
particular plants are underwater whenever the tide comes, the high tide comes. So they are angiosperms, they are seed bearing plants, you could say.
Okay.
Particularly they are not fungi or mushroom like things. So they
Hmm.
produces flowers and fruits just like the trees or the trees, etc. So
Hmm.
these particular plants act as a nursery grounds for the fishes. They act as a food resources for the crabs, sea urchins. So the small organisms that live in. Okay, so you can
Right.
see the sponges are actually harboring into this seagrass meadows. So the
Yeah.
particularly seagrasses are eaten by this particular organism. This is called as sea cow. This is called as dugong. So it
Okay.
is called as sea cow because it is the only herbivorous marine animal or marine mammal, particularly if you want to say. So in the whole
Hmm.
wide world, we just have one herbivorous marine mammal. So all the marine mammals, if you see, they are all omnivorous, they are carnivorous, they are not herbivorous or vegetarian. So
Correct.
in each day, this particularly sea cow or dugong eats up to 30 to 40 kgs of sea grasses. So you can
Oh, wow.
imagine
Okay.
the damage to the seagrasses that we are doing that can
Yeah.
happen to this particular organism. So my work focused on dugongs, which are often called as sea cow, which are among the endangered animals, mammals in India, and they're closely related to the seagrass meadows because they act as a primary food resources to them. So I have been involved in the habitat assessment, studying the seagrass distribution, understanding how this environmental factors actually affect the ecosystem. And my main work emphasis on the community engagement. So I was working on the seagrass meadows. You can see a quadrant that I've laid to check the seagrass abundance. There I was just washing the
Right.
seagrasses and checking how much is the density or the population of this, which kind of seagrass do I am getting.
Correct.
And this was a part of the community engagement program. So where we used to take up students, school children's or college students for some community awareness or the beach cleanup. So this particular photo was from lockdown 2020. So we had taken the school children's for the beach cleanup program in Gujarat. Uh, so
Okay.
uh, yeah, so dugongs acts as a flagship species, so we need to protect them, and we end up conserving the entire seagrass ecosystem and the biodiversity that they support. So my role was exactly not just with conservation of dugong, but it was not possible without protecting the seagrass meadows and involving the coastal community that actually interacts daily as their livelihood or as their habits too.
Right. Oh, this is just wonderful. Yeah. Mm. That's a huge thing. I mean, the awareness, like you said, you've included the community and this because it's really important for the younger generation also to know because
Yes.
there's so many other things, they have been attracted to. But and wildlife, I always say that I somewhat feel we are more biased over for Amit services. Like, it's the mix of flora fauna always. It's not just animals or people go to the forest because they want to see a tiger, b elephant, or whatever it is. But it is so very important that the guides also when he's telling you about the plants and the medicinal values, when you're in a gypsy ride and whatever. So that is equally important. So it that's how it should be portrayed and brought ahead so that entire ecology of the entire forest, they know that it brings together so many things. It's a marine, it's plants, it's whatever. So that's how it should be ideally taken it forward. So let's hope it goes on. Yeah. So, Amit sir, you've worked extensively in Konkan region. So how did your journey lead to study rare and endemic plant species? So tell us a little about Konkan and your
Yeah,
study.
yeah. So I was working with when I was having the master's degree from Shivaji University Kolhapur. I was running through this Konkan belt, specifically the laterite plateaus of the Konkan region. And at the time I was in Kolhapur, but when I shifted just immediately after the completion of my masters to the Konkan region to the Dapoli, I was working with forestry, project forestry. There is a agriculture university in Dapoli. uh, I started working on one very specific and endemic species, plant species. It was the Diptera concanens. So it was strike my actually career. Uh, I request to share my screen. I will show you. I'm just
It's
sharing my
enabled.
screen.
Yeah. Yeah. It's been shared.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yes.
this was the plant. It is
Mm.
named as the Diptera concanens. Belongs to family Asparaceae. Very
Okay.
beautiful plant, and it makes the beautiful landscape into the Konkan region of
Right.
the Maharashtra. Uh,
Right.
so yeah, so when I started in 2012, I was supposed to have the population assessment for the species
Hmm.
particularly because
Hmm.
the species has almost 145 um, years of the background. It was
Okay.
discovered by Dalzell, the scientist
Okay.
Dalzell, into the 1850s around. And after 1850s, it was it was discussed as the extinct in the population. But
Okay.
in after the 100 years, in 1950, 1985, it was re-discovered the species in the
Hmm.
Ratnagiri plateaus. At that
Okay.
time, it was again it has a very less population at that time recorded. Uh, but when we started the exact study in 2012, uh, I was supposed I was actually successfully identified the 22 populations into the Maharashtra, specifically Ratnagiri and Sindhurga plateaus. And
Yeah.
in 2014, we were successfully identified one more population extension into the Goa state. So these were
Okay.
the 22 populations. I'm not going details into this. So it
Right.
was one extended population in Goa state. So it was
Okay.
very fortunate to have this population into the Goa state. But there was major incidents. I'm not going this into detail. When I
Hmm.
had the opportunity to have the assessment, IUCN Release
Hmm.
assessment, very fortunate. Uh, the habitat destruction was the major issue, which causing the rarity or reducing the distribution of the species.
Hmm.
Now, at looking at the 2026, we can have uh, almost 20 populations. So five populations are already declined from the nature. So it was because of this population disturbance. I'm
Yeah.
not going detail into this.
Yeah.
Uh, so yeah, so here we came across with this one ecological niche modeling where
Hmm.
we assess the species, means the climatic factors of these 22 populations
Hmm.
with this model. It gives us the output with the predicted populations.
Okay.
So very surprisingly, we found some populations, new predicted populations, into the Dapoli and some northern part of this Konkan region at the
Hmm.
Dapoli, Mandangad and Guwahati Taluka. So
Hmm.
Guwahati Taluka have the existing population some. Dapoli and this one Mandangad Taluka plateaus, there was not seen any time uh, before to the 2012. So we
Yeah.
started the introduction of this species into this particular area of Dapoli and Mandangad. So almost 17 different localities were chosen, and you can see into the photographs we spread the fruits, we spread the seeds, we spread the soil itself, and we started
Yeah.
the restoration. But
Correct.
when we are having the monitoring, regular monitoring, from the 2012 to 2000, almost 20, I'm not almost after the 2022. So almost after
Hmm.
the 2012 years, we got the
Hmm.
first flowering of this
Oh,
population at
okay.
this new populations. So it was a very long-term journey. So 12 years of regular continuous monitoring we had, and we got the successful restoration of the species. At the time, we do some awareness programs like
Yeah.
publications and all these things to know the people how exactly the species and how come to the Napoli. Now Napoli and Bandnagar have their own populations.
Yeah.
We did some collaborations with some administrations also, with forest department, police department,
Hmm.
subdivision office of Napoli and Bandangar. Last year we did one first Dipkadi Mahotsav into Napoli. So good performance, good response of this particular local communities was there. I have some team added newly joined from last year
Okay.
with this and some collaborations also. So just like the Prachi said, community involvement was very playing the crucial role.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
now we as a team are trying to get this extension, means expansion of this restoration study to the other parts of the Dapoli, Mandangad and Goa. So yeah, this
Okay.
was my very positive response, positive
Okay.
experience from this lateral
Right.
plateaus of the Konkan region.
Yeah. This is really incredible. So we did not know, and the work that went behind for so many years. After 10 years,
Yes,
that middle part, you all the team works, and they await this kind of this thing. It's very crucial what all goes
yes.
into that period. Yeah. So we move on to Prachi. So Prachi, what are the biggest threats to marine biodiversity in India today?
Yeah, so the main biggest threat I can say is coastal development, habitat
Yeah.
destruction, pollution, specifically the plastic pollution and the industrial
Right.
waste that goes. Apart from that, bycatch and overfishing. Um,
Right.
yeah, and loss of critical habitats like mangroves are there, corals are there, seagrass meadows are there, and the
Yeah.
climate change that is actually impacting the ocean levels and as well as the temperature. So as you can see, there
Mm.
is mass bleaching event that is ongoing right now. So that is
Yeah.
happening because of the climate change itself. The Arctic ice is melting, and we are getting the ice level. I mean, the sea level temperature is rising because of the Arctic are getting melt down, and whole water is coming into our oceans only, and that's why. So
Correct.
these threats doesn't act in isolation, but they
Yeah.
often overlap with each other and making the ecosystem vulnerable for the
Hmm.
destruction,
Hmm.
as you can see.
Correct. 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 Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, all of us have heard about habitat destruction. It starts from it's there everywhere. But for this, overfishing was something that is new, or even plastic. Everyone knows this thing, but it's a question from me. I mean, apart from this, so we are doing so much of awareness and all. What else can be done, to totally bring this as have some measure to cap maybe a plastic thing, or fishing. I don't know, overfishing. So can you suggest some alternate this thing? Plastic we know of course, but the overfishing thing.
Yeah, the overfishing happens that because we only prefer only certain type of fishes. So we are like vegetables. There are seasonal vegetables that we eat. So we don't get
Hmm.
mango as whole year. We just get in the summer
Right.
season, right? So it goes
Correct.
for the same fishes also. So we prefer only paplet or pomfret or surmai, that kind of all the
Yeah.
time. So
Yeah.
that we need to change our food habits that way.
Hmm.
That okay, we'll be having food specifically for this season. We'll avoid the breeding season that way,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
And
Yeah.
we actually can have something like awareness is the one thing, but there are another citizen science program that have been trying to develop some that whatever awareness that we are trying to create. So citizen science program actually helps in any marine mammal strandings or marine organism strandings or sighting records. So we collect the data online. We have a portal also that we can bring some behavioral changes in the public that has been disconnected from the ecosystems completely. So
Right.
that we have to try and like strategic planning, supposedly like avoiding the ecological sensitive zones, trying
Correct.
out more nature-based solution and avoid the minimize, restore and offset approach that we are
Correct.
doing. So that we can try as a person
Of
or as an
course.
individual.
Yeah. Right. Right. So I always say, children are the best. Whatever, they can be molded, or they're the best conveyors of information or this thing, even to the adults per se,
Yes.
because they're more adaptive in a lot of ways. So including these all things, prioritizing in the educative aspect when they are textbooks, and because you hardly I'm not learned at all, so it's like a this new to me. So we hold wildlife sessions in a lot of schools, or maybe we can include a couple of slides saying for plants do this, or for marine do this. So introduce light at that age so they know the importance
Yes.
of it. So
Very
I
important.
feel that will also help in a big way.
Yeah.
Uh, so with coming to you, so carbon, that is you called environmental social governance ESG, are widely discussed. How impactful are they in reality? So what we say sequestration carbon. We see, I think, Amit sir, did you get my question?
Actually,
I
Actually,
think it's,
I can.
yeah. So then, yeah, I'll. So when we say carbon sequestration and ESG, they're widely discussed in a big way. So how impactful are they in reality? I think his net is a little bit patchy, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to log in and
Like your
log
network
out
issue
and log
something.
in again, if that helps.
Yeah, I'm trying. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll
Yeah.
try.
Okay, you can try. Till that time, I will move on to Prachi. So, we just spoke about community involvement and the conservation success. We've already discussed about this. So, one is when we say we go to the, take students and other people, where else can you see uh, bringing in the community aspect as well? Because without the support, I feel, Prachi, any kind of activity that you're doing without the help of community, it's not going to work. So how do you see yourself in that? You're on mute. I'll just tell you. 1 minute. Huh?
Am I audible now?
Yes,
Yeah.
now you're audible. We missed the
Yeah.
first. Yeah.
So I was saying that I was a part of the Campa Recovery Dugong project. So as a part of that objective, we had to create awareness among the various stakeholders, may it be local community, may it be the implementing agencies like Forest Department, the Coast Guard, Navy, school children's, the college, and the local NGOs as well. So what we
Right.
understood that when I started working on this particular dugong, so I didn't know anything about this animal. If
Yeah.
even didn't know that such animal actually exists on our earth. So when I
Correct.
started speaking, started talking with, chatting with the community members. So they said that, okay, we have seen this particular animal like very long years back, 20, 30 years back. Recently, we haven't sighted. Or they will start telling about their stories, how the fishing has been drastically, the fish catch has been drastically gone down by over the so many periods of years, and what are
Right.
the threats that they have been facing. And actually, they are absolutely the conservation success, I must say. So, in many coastal communities or areas, the communities are the first observers of this environmental changes, and they are the first people that they are the first barriers that are often getting affected by this all this. So in my work,
Right.
we started initiating the World Dugong Day, the citizen science approach. So where we involved the divers, where they gave us the sightings of this particular animal. So in Andaman and especially in Tamil Nadu, we couldn't go by ourselves every time for the boat surveys. So what we did,
Mm.
we started creating awareness among this local communities as well as the dive shops or the divers. So they started giving us the footage of this particular animal whenever they used to sight. And that's how
Okay.
we saw how this awareness can transform the people into the conservation stewards. And when the
Correct.
community is involved, it is just not informed. They form a long-term protectors of this marine ecosystem, because
Absolutely.
ultimately we were there for some time, and later on when we left, they are still continuing their work. So that is what the importance, how they have changed their scenarios. And in Tamil Nadu specifically, I will say that it was the dugong who particularly hunted for its meat. And as the
Okay.
awareness program started taking up, so they started
Yeah.
actually rescuing the dugongs. And as a
Mm.
part of that conservation implementation, we have already got one conservation dugong reserve specifically in Tamil Nadu. So the hunters, they turned into the conservators. That's how it
Oh.
changed.
This is an amazing example. So those people, we always say, so the
Mm.
best person, how can you help forests? Okay, for me, because I've been going there, you can help someone who protect the forest, of course. So what can a layman do sitting here? People do keep on asking. So we can help these communities in some way or the other. So they in turn go ahead and do their work, which they are already been doing. So it's an amazing thing that this example, and now they're doing it by themselves for this kind of a species. Yeah, it's great. Yes, Amit sir. So the question that I wanted to ask you is, what do you think are the biggest environmental challenges in India? So if people know about it. I think overall the internet is not good for them today. Uh, so I think Prachi, let's continue because I don't think, yeah, I will talk to Amit sir separately and check if his internet works properly. How is technology like underwater drones changing the marine research? What do you think? I mean,
Yeah. So coming to that question, I would like to say that previously we didn't have any technology. So as a diver, we can just go up till 100 meters. That's what.
yeah,
So
yeah,
as a human being, we have some constraint, physical constraint that
correct,
we
correct.
cannot deep dive. I mean, we cannot dive deeper than 100 meters. Obviously, it will
Okay,
create a hell lot of pressure on our lungs. So it might burst
right,
because of the pressure also. Also,
right,
we get the nitrogen-rich gas into our lungs. So that can
yeah,
also be very bad to breathe actually after we come up on the surface. So underwater drones actually can dive deeper rather than 100 meters below. So there is the
okay,
100 meters, the photic zone is there where the line penetrates, where you will see all the plants and animals. But
yeah,
as we passes 100 meters below, the water,
yeah,
the light won't be there at all. So
right,
that's how the technology has worked up in our favor at least. So
wow,
like technologies like we use GIS and remote sensing to map the ecosystems, like mangroves are there. You can take up the areas of this mangrove, seagrass ecosystem. You can actually get a footage of coral ecosystem if we are transplanting a coral reef. So we have
right,
artificial reef also. So if you have to monitor that, the ROVs and underwater drones actually help us to monitor
help,
this
yeah,
biodiversity.
right,
Apart from that, we have also started with acoustic studies. So that is nothing but we are actually recording the underwater noise or the
hmm.
underwater how the marine mammals are conversing with themselves, what kind of frequencies they are
Oh,
using to connect with each
okay,
other or the other species that they are residing in the same population as well. And also there are data loggers and multi-parameter probes that actually help you to take the water quality in check. So in my
right,
drone fieldwork, I use this data loggers to keep the environmental data for the seagrass meadows, particularly the light intensity as well as the water quality.
correct,
Yeah.
correct, yeah. So amazing. Drones are, we are what the best way that we can use the technology for our sake is. Oh, yeah, it's nice.
So this is one startup that I am a part of, this particularly group. So this is Andromeda. They have started underwater robots. So they have been testing this underwater robots for the marine engineers particularly, and that we are trying to implement in our upcoming research areas as well.
Oh, all right.
Yes. And another interesting study I would like to show you all guys. So
Hmm.
I was a part of Wildlife Institute of India back then in 2015, and
Okay.
we wanted to know that particularly this olive ridley sea turtles, where do they
Yeah.
actually go? So this is a
Yeah.
part of a study that we have started. So this is
Okay.
you can see on this turtle's back, we have attached something. So this is an instrument,
Yes.
which is a satellite
Okay.
tag. Okay, so
Okay.
this particular instrument gives us the information where this particular female has been traveling, where at what
Mhm.
depth she has been gone to, and where she is currently locating. So as a till now, we had tagged this particular turtle on 20th November, and so far
Okay.
she had traveled till Oman, but because of the war conditions, I guess she sensed it and she just started youth and she came back to Arabian Sea.
Wow.
Yes, so
Yeah.
and we are still tracking this particular turtle. So she was injured and we rescued her. It was found in Dahanu. So with the help of the Mangrove Foundation and the
Yeah.
local NGO, WCAWA, we started rescuing the sea turtles and we tried to, we have been trying to track the nesting turtles. But it was our first attempt to track a turtle which has been rescued and rehabilitated. So that's
Okay.
how it is going.
This is some example. Yeah. I mean, those, they also sense this kind of,
Yeah.
and she made her way back. That was
Yes.
something really amazing. So these are found in Orissa also, if I'm not wrong, or
Sorry.
Orissa.
Yes, so
Are
they
these found in
so
Orissa
on
also?
our coastline, particularly on the west coast, we have
Yeah.
only turtles that only come in like single turtle will come and then they lay their eggs. But in
Okay.
Odisha, particularly, they one second.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So
Yes.
I
No
was
problem.
saying, yeah, so on Odisha, we have mass nesting turtles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so in on our west coast, we have just sporadic turtles. So one single turtle will come and lay their eggs. But in Odisha, they
Okay.
come in mass, in lakhs, and they together nest, like in synchronized nesting is there. So that is seen
Okay.
that is called as aribada. So that
Okay.
phenomenon is only seen in particularly in Odisha.
Okay. And there's a specific month, there's a season, or like a
Yeah, so
February
the
or a Jan?
season, yes, yes. So they start actually from November till the March to April.
Okay. Okay. Amazing. So I think Amit sir, if you can, if you want to keep your video off
Yeah,
for better this
yes, yes,
thing, so it
yes.
will
That's
help.
better actually. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem, no
Yeah,
problem. Yeah. So I was discussing the different environmental challenges in India that the we and how impactful they are that we are presently facing. In your viewpoint of the facing for the ecology as a whole, if you can share a few with us, like Prachi shared for marine, typical life.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Since I discussed earlier, I was working
yeah,
with this. Actually, I'm working with this Diptera concanes and some other
correct.
indigenous flora or indigenous or
Yeah.
endemic flora of this particular coconut region of Maharashtra.
Hmm.
I'm always getting facing the issues with the environmental policies or some funding. Means
Okay.
I was trying since last 2 years for getting the funding for the getting the expansion of this restoration work for the care companies
Right.
and other
Right.
species. But unfortunately,
Hmm.
there was no any my application. None of the application was accepted by any of this institution or organization. So because
Correct.
this species was always competing with this animal species. So
Okay.
when I'm competing with when this plant species is competing with this animal species, there will be always preference for the animal species. So this
Animal
should be
species.
this is the some very serious issue actually. Uh,
Yeah.
when then fortunately I came and discussed with this Prachi, Dr.
Yeah.
Prachi, and she helped
Yeah.
me out some organizations. So now I'm getting this year some funding for uh,
Okay.
this work,
Okay.
this restoration work. So some policies or some environmental misgovernance is there
Yeah.
should be the
I
in place for this.
correct.
So yeah,
Correct.
so that is my
Yeah.
concern.
Okay. Okay. That is a concern. Now you've spent again to Amit sir, you've spent a decade working on these kind of species. What kept you motivated throughout this long journey? Because as I said, you mentioned some, 10 years when one you were putting a species, and then you had the benefits reaped after 10 years when you saw the species actually growing. So this is a long span of time to hold on, to your motivation, other factors, and things like that. So what kept you motivated, to in the entire journey?
Actually, what kept me motivated was a combination of scientific curiosity and the we can say a sense of this responsibility. So each
Mm.
and every year, even small observations gave a new insights into the
Yeah.
species,
Mm.
means during this exploration. So that
Mm.
small things giving me motivations always.
Okay. Okay.
So
That's great.
scientific approach and community plays major role.
Yes. So we had discussed with Prachi also. The community is the biggest.
Yeah, Dr. Prachi has highlighted the
Yeah,
that one point.
even we also
Community.
completely agree. So wherever for as
Yeah,
Jungle Bells, we take smaller trips, in around Pune also for excursions for women and things like that.
those are
We
much
make it a
necessary.
yeah, and so we make it a
Much
point to
necessary.
also
I
tell them.
appreciate.
Yeah, so we make it a point to tell them what they can help, how they can help back to these kind of wildlife or flora fauna they've been enjoying. Like you go to grasslands, it doesn't necessarily mean that what you can do. You can't litter there. You can not throw plastic. You can use the bins, or you can support in getting bins for the forest. Or, if you have that capacity. So these small things, I think, will small efforts will lead to a long way. So that's what we also feel. So Prachi, next question for you. How does marine conservation connect with our daily lives?
Yeah, so marine conservation is, if you see, it is actually deeply connected to our everyday life. So even if you don't live near the coast
Yeah,
everywhere, oceans actually regulate the whole climate. They actually provide us the food. Our vaccines, our
correct.
beauty products come from this ocean resources itself. So it
Yeah,
actually supports the livelihood. It actually supports our produces anomalous oxygen that we breathe. As you all know, that 70% of the Earth's surface is water. So even
correct.
simple actions like reducing the plastic or being mindful about the seafood choices, as I mentioned earlier, we can have a
Mm.
direct impact on this ecosystems, and what we do on the land will eventually reaches the ocean. So that's how
Okay,
we need to connect the marine conservation to our daily lives.
right, right, right. Cool. So, Amit sir, one question for you. So, you've done this restoration thing. So, what do you think this kind of a model that you have done earlier in Konkan region and for the specific species of the plant, can it be, replicated to other endangered species as well by, us or whatever, in a way?
Yeah, definitely. Even though there is species to species ecology is different,
Yeah.
but we can replicate the at least efforts we can or methodologies we can replicate for the other endangered species of this Konkan region. Definitely.
Okay. Okay. That's great. So we'll have. So to know more about your work, I
Actually,
guess we'll.
sorry,
Sorry. No. No. No.
sorry,
Please
sorry. Sorry
continue.
for interruption.
No. 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 Please
Actually,
continue.
very fortunately, last year, this restoration of Dipkadi concanes, actually
Yeah.
in Goa, there is one species, Dipkadi goensis there, which is very
Okay.
highly endemic. And it has
Okay.
very small population, means only single population on the earth there is.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh. Okay. All right. So, Prachi, what advice would you give to young people who want to enter this field?
Which is
Then
going to
I'll take
be
up the
Goa.
question in the
Okay,
chat box. Sorry, Amit
So
sir is
yeah,
yeah. So,
yeah. So,
is he still okay?
okay, should I answer?
Yeah. Yeah. Please.
Yeah. So I would like to tell everybody who wants to be a part of ocean conservation, stay curious, be open to learning from both the science as well as from field. So if I just say that we are fascinated more by the outdoor work, it's not just the outdoor work that works for particularly
Yeah.
for this conservation field. So marine conservation is not just about having, you are passionate about learning things. It requires a hell lot of patience, resilience, and also adaptability. So get hands-on training experience whenever you are possible. Go for the internship, field work, go for some volunteer programs, build a strong fundamentals in ecology, and that can
Right.
also help you develop a better communication skills, because in conservation it's not just about the people, but it's also about the science. So you need to, whatever research we are doing, we need to communicate with the society, as Dr. Amit had already said, that we keep on writing in the newspaper that whatever research we findings we are taking out from the field
Absolutely.
itself. And
Correct.
yeah, and most importantly, don't be discouraged by challenges. This field they actually needs dedicated voices.
Very well said. Amit sir,
Yeah,
what
actually,
your advice would be for those people who want to pursue something like what you're doing right now?
actually, you asked me the earlier question now. I want to add one this thing.
Sure, sure.
Definitely, we can replicate this restoration technique for the other
Yeah,
species. There
yeah.
was one incident in Goa.
Okay,
There is one Diploid govans is a very endemic species. It has only
yeah.
single population on the earth, Bholan.
Okay. Mm.
So there are so many enthusiasts, some environmentalists who are trying to protect this population from the since
Mm.
last almost 10 to 12 years. But when
Okay.
this last year when we strike this the successful story of the
Mhm.
restoration of the Periconkinase, they have raised this study and they have referred the study to their government for the using this technology or particularly the public awareness, public interest, how our government means spoken government local bodies we can say
Right,
are supporting
right,
the study. So now they are proposing this
right,
to their government. So
right.
definitely we can replicate the study for this other uh, spaces also
Oh,
as well.
wonderful. Wonderful. And my next question for you was those who are interested in, pursuing something like what you are into, research and all this conservation, ecology and things. What is your advice to them?
Uh, yeah, for conservation, yeah, patience you can see from my almost 13 for 14 years. So
Yes, yes.
I could advise that conservation should be the focus for this particular species. So if I am working into the n number of species, means 3 4 species into the Konkan region, I should be focused
Mhm.
on some particular one species. If I could do
Okay.
this now, it would be
Yeah.
the better give the restoration. Otherwise, we cannot focus on multiple species or multiple
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
have their own different ecology or we can say
Correct.
phenology like.
Right. 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 Yeah. So I'll take up a few questions which are there in the chat box quickly. One of them, I think Anamika is asking Amit sir, can you please suggest a field guide to identify plants of North India or maybe any online source for plant identification?
Actually, there is no as such guideline or we can say the
Okay.
book like this. But
Yeah.
we have uh, n number of floras. It's locally flora is a book where you can get
Okay.
the identification keys of this particular region.
Okay.
So into the north region, there are so many books or flora published by the Botanical of India, some their
Okay.
local institutes. So many. So we can get the
Okay.
information or guidelines for the identification from this.
Okay. Okay. Uh, Sanjay is asking by both of you, what is the solution? I think this is for both of you. What is the solution or solutions for restricting damage to ecosystems, as we are a large country and many organizations involved in development with individual interests? Where are we lacking? So we've spoken a few, but is there something else that comes to your mind? What he's asking. So it's already the damage that is being created for this ecosystem. uh, so, is there anything further that we can do to, avoid this? Prachi, you're on mute. You'll have to unmute, no problem. No, you're still on mute.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
we can hear
I personally feel that I saw a lack of coordination between the implementation agencies as well as the institution too. So
Okay.
that needs to be improvised. There, actually, whatever the policies that we are formulating, that needs to be on like ground level implementation is still lacking. And
Okay.
even if there is a clearance or a developmental project or a conservation project, we have to start including the local communities that we are not doing so. As a part of every EI, we just have gone about a public consultation whenever needed, but it doesn't actually involve the community, whatever the benefits or whatever the disadvantages, whatever the impact that will be actually on this local communities, that needs to be addressed. That is still not there, I feel. And we don't have
Okay.
any long-term ecological data for any of these places or any of these ecosystems. So like Sir
Mhm.
said that he have been doing for 10 years. I have been working for
Right.
10 years. Until and unless the funds were available, this long-term ecological data monitoring was not possible for us also.
Right.
And more public awareness needs to be there using the technologies that we are trying to put away. So that also we see a public disconnect from this ecosystem. So until and
Hmm.
unless we are having this awareness sessions all the time, it won't
Right.
be impactful as earlier. So that's what I feel.
Right.
Yeah, I'm also feeling the same and totally agree with Dr. Prachi.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
There is another lady, Miss Mita Patil. She's asking, given that the solar and wind projects are classified as white category and generally exempted from the environmental clearance, could you clarify how tree cutting or vegetation clearance is handled, especially when projects involve non-forest versus forest land? So we'll take one part of the question. There are two. So I think this is more for Amit sir. So you want me to repeat the question, Amit sir, if I was a little
No,
fast?
no, no. I got it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
See, the environment clearance. Currently, I'm working as an environment consultant,
Yeah.
and as per my knowledge and working from since last 5 years,
Correct.
environment clearance and tree cutting permissions, means tree cutting,
Hmm.
they are completely different concepts, and they have their
Okay.
own uh, guidelines. So,
Correct.
environment clearance uh, in place or not in place, there is a compulsory you have to go with the tree permissions with the
Okay.
tree authority. So, if the
Yeah.
project comes under the forest jurisdiction, so forest will be
Yeah.
the tree authority who will be the governing this tree NOC permissions, tree cutting
Hmm.
permissions. And if it
Hmm.
is not comes into the forest area, it would be liable to the urban area or local bodies like municipal corporation, municipal commissions, municipal councils like this, gram panchayats and all
Okay.
this.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there is a compulsory provision for this getting the permission from tree authority, even though there is a environmental clearance is applicable or not
Okay.
for any
Okay.
project. Even
Okay.
though even on your side you are having some proposed construction activity and there is only single tree. For this single tree also you have to follow this throughout the
Yeah.
condition as per the act.
Correct. 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 Yeah.
And all
Absolutely.
other all each and every state have their own policies act
Okay.
for this.
Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. There's another part of the question which either of you want to answer if you know. Also, for wind projects in coastal states like Gujarat or Tamil Nadu, what specific clearances except CRZ should developers be particularly mindful of?
So,
Is
as I
this
earlier said,
yeah?
that we have a weak enforcement of the violations, that is the illegal construction, the mangrove destruction, or the coastal
Okay.
encroachment that still occurs.
Okay.
There is a conflict between the conservationists as well as the developers. We have ports, we have tourism coming up, we have infrastructure projects, and there is a data gap. There is an outdated or poorly managed or mapped CRZ
Mhm.
boundaries that leads to misclarification or misclassification. And the governments, if you see that there are multiple authorities that like creates a delays and confusion. So what we need is a real-time monitoring of this coastal changes. We need
Right.
strong accountability for these mechanisms. We also need to include the scientific data in the approvals that I don't see right now in the CRZ the CRZ clearance projects, and of course the community that comes when community needs to be involved in the decision making process. So all these things needs to be there when we are trying to put up some environmental clearance for the CRZ developers too.
Okay. Thank you. I think we come to the last question. Amit sir, could you briefly elaborate on ecological role? I just missed that question. Can you elaborate on the ecological role of that species in the restoration projects, especially its impact on ecosystem recovery and biodiversity support? This is asked by Mr. Nakum Jaideep.
Yeah, definitely. It has a very positive role when we are conserving or restoring the any particular species. It will conserve the ecosystem also. So particular ecosystem or particular we can talk the habitat, particular habitat.
Mm.
So
Mm.
it is always useful for this restoration of any type of habitat. We can say ecosystem. We can say biodiversity. So,
Mm.
for example, when we are conserving the diploid concatenus, particular species,
Mm.
we are
Mm.
ultimately conserving their pollinators also. So pollinators of the diploid. They are always helping pollinate the mangoes, means flowers of the mangoes, flowers of the cashews in the particular region.
Mm.
So the gap between the flowering season of mango or this cashew and the
Mm.
flowering of this misphenology of this decade, there is a gap. So
Mm.
to fill up this gap, uh,
Mm.
there is a life cycle of this particular moth also means there is a moth which is always pollinating this Diptera concatenus, which is responsible for this again pollination of this mango and cashew. The
Okay.
same common moth is there. So when we are talking about the conservation of this particular species, it will conserve or it will restore the pollinations, means pollinators or other biodiversity components
Okay.
as
Okay.
well.
Yeah. Thank you. We have one last question by Piyush. This is for Prachi. In the region where the number of dugongs has already declined, is restoring their habitat, such as seagrass, enough to restore the species, or do we need to take any additional steps like reintroducing dugongs in such areas?
Yeah, so what we are trying to put up that Gujarat has the lowest number of dugongs so far, and we are
Okay.
trying to protect the habitat which is already existing. So restoration efforts have been done in Tamil Nadu, particularly region. They have
Mm.
ample amount of dugongs. So the largest 270 individuals have been found in Tamil Nadu region. So the restoration is feasible over there. So, but as you see, as you have seen my last slide, so the
Yeah.
turbidity in Gujarat and Gulf of Kutch specifically is very large. Not
Mm.
unless and until not like the Tamil Nadu region, which has some clear water, and it is easier to restore the seagrass species, thinking that it can conserve the whole habitat that we are trying to put up with dugongs. But reintroducing the dugongs in such areas, we are not so sure about it, because ultimately we haven't tried taking up the dugongs from any region to reintroduce as such. It is not like a tiger or a lion, that terrestrial species that just we can change the habitat and it will survive. So it's not
Yeah.
like that. It's a marine species. So we in 1950s, the CMFRI had actually tried caging a dugong to check the behavior, and ultimately in 2 months only it died in captivity. So it's not very feasible option to reintroduce the dugongs from one region to another region. So we are trying to restore the habitat in various regions. So we'll try to come up with some other strategies for Gulf of Kutch, basically.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So this one ends with the question. This is for Amit sir. I'm a part. I think Piyush is asking. I'm from the central eastern part of Maharashtra, on the eastern side of Sahyadri range. In my region, we mostly see grasslands rather than the forests. However, many people say that this area used to be forested in the past. Recently, I attended a talk where I learned about might be a misconception that these landscapes have been natural grasslands, not degraded forests. Wants to ask if these ecosystems were originally grasslands, and how does large scale tree planting affect them? Could planting trees in such areas be ecologically harmful?
Uh, Actually, no. I would say, see, the forest ecosystem and grassland ecosystems are completely independent, very
Yeah.
different concepts.
Mm.
Yeah. So when we are having, means at the current situation, if it is the grasslands, and if there are some references they have that they are mentioned, like earlier it was the forested area, now it is the grassland areas. So I don't think so that will be happen, because completely different habitats. Another
Right.
thing, going ahead, if we want to convert this grassland to the newly plantation and getting the like forested area, it is completely
Mhm.
impossible, because grasslands also have their own ecosystem, which supports the n number of the biodiversity components, like many
Right.
insects, reptiles, and all these things. So when we are planning to replace the grassland to the forested area, the entire ecosystem would be declined. So I would
Correct.
never prefer that convert or replace the any particular grassland to forested area or forested to area to grassland. Not an option, not
Okay.
a good option. Always.
Okay. Okay. Yes, so that brings us to the end of the webinar. I think we've covered most of the questions. Oh, they were there. Okay. Yeah, no. We've covered. So thank you so much, Prachi and Amit sir, because um, till now, frankly telling you, we've done these webinars. Okay, we were only restricting it to the animals and wildlife and conservation photographers and this thing. But I think this is the first webinar where we actually brought the real people who work in a very different kind of aspect, and we want more people to know about your work. So you can follow them on Amit sir, what is your Insta ID for your work? You can just maybe,
Dr. Amit,
yeah,
they are
yeah,
Amit Mirgal something. Yeah.
yeah. So even Prachi, you can follow her work. You can put it in the chat box also. And we are very happy that you accepted this. Sonal from my team has been, in touch with you, and thanks to her also, since I've been traveling. But I got an opportunity to meet both of you online and someday offline and experience your work also. So thank you so much, and I'll be sharing this link soon with the community. We'll also be putting up on the social media, and you can watch those people who could not join us today either way, so they can watch this on the YouTube later. Thank you so much. So,
Thank you so
yeah,
much. Yeah.
yes, thank you.